Look closely at the world you live in. What is the one thing that feels unavoidable? Is it love? No. Is it peace? Sadly, no. It is noise. And at the center of that noise, if you listen very carefully, you will hear the vibration of anger. It is like a perpetual thunderstorm that never moves on. Every time you turn your head, someone is screaming. On the screen you hold in your hands, on the television in your home, at the political podiums, in the traffic of your crowded streets. It feels as though humanity has developed a fever and we cannot cool the body. I look at this and my heart grows heavy, but I am not surprised. My ancestors warned us that a time would come when we would sever our roots from the earth and live only in our minds. When you live only in your mind, without the grounding of the earth, you become a dry field, and any spark of anger can cause a massive fire. Today, I want to explore something with you. Something you feel but perhaps do not fully understand. I want to explain to you, not as a politician or an expert, but as a grandfather, why this world seems to be controlled by those who are most angry. This will not be a conversation about blame. It will be a conversation about understanding the architecture of the human soul in the modern era. We must understand that anger is a force, but it is rarely a wise one. So I invite you to sit with me for a while. Let us step away from the fire and look at the smoke from a distance. Let us examine the 5 great forces that have allowed the enraged to become the rulers of your world. To understand why angry people rule, we must first understand the nature of anger itself. My people have always understood fire. Anger, in its pure form, is fire. It is not inherently bad. If my ancestors did not have fire, they would have frozen in the winters. Fire in a hearth, in a controlled space, is used to cook food, to warm the bones, to give light so we can tell stories. It is useful. It is necessary for survival. A moment of anger can sometimes save your life from a threat. But what happens when you take that same fire out of the hearth and build it in the middle of a dry, windy forest? It becomes a monster. It burns without purpose. It consumes everything in its path, the good wood and the bad wood alike, and leaves only ash. The tragedy of your modern world is that you have lost the hearth. You have created a culture that generates massive amounts of anger, but has nowhere safe to put it. Let me tell you about a hunter I knew when I was a young man. His name was Thomas. Thomas was a brilliant tracker, but he was also a man who carried a very small hearth in his chest. The slightest disrespect, the smallest bad luck, and his anger would spill over. He did not use his fire to hunt. He used it to burn his bridges. In the old days, when Thomas became truly enraged at the council, the other elders would not argue with him. They would sit in a circle, and one elder would simply take his drum and begin a slow, hypnotic beat. Thomas would be screaming, red-faced, but the drum would continue, steady and calm. Soon the other elders would join, not speaking, just drumming. Thomas would run out of breath. He would see that his noise did not break the circle. He was forced to witness his own futility. And finally, Thomas would slump to the earth, his anger spent, forced to sit with the stillness of the people. We had a system that could hold his fire. We absorbed the wild fire and guided it back to the hearth. But in your world today, when someone like Thomas screams, they are not met with the drumbeat of stillness. They are given a global audience. They are given a microphone. You have no counsel to ground the enraged. You have only amplifiers. And because there is no mechanism to tame the wildfire becomes the defining reality of your existence. This brings us to the second force, the loudspeaker. The entire political and social system of today has been built, unintentionally or not, to amplify anger above all other emotions. I want you to think about this practically. A calm man cannot compete with an angry man on a screen. If I sit here and tell you a story about a quiet river that brings life to a valley, you might find it peaceful, but you might also become bored in 10 minutes. You might change the channel. But if another man stands up, his face contorted in rage, and points his finger into the camera and says, "That man by the river is stealing your water. He hates you and he wants your children to starve," you will not turn that off. You will watch. Your pulse will quicken. Your blood will get hot. Why? Because fear is the oldest instinct of the body. Anger is the mobilize of fear. The moment you are made angry, your body believes you are in imminent physical danger. You cannot ignore it. The people who control the money, the media, and the political parties in your world understand this very well. They know that peace is not profitable. Kindness is not newsworthy. But outrage sells. Outrage gets attention. My granddaughter recently showed me a video on her small computer. It was a person, completely alone in a dark room, screaming into a camera about a new law that was passed in a city thousands of miles away. The person didn't offer a single solution. They just offered their fury. I looked at my granddaughter and asked, "Why do millions of people watch this man scream?" She thought about it and said, "Because he makes us feel like we're part of a fight." This is the power of the loudspeaker. It gives a lonely, atomized population a false sense of community. The enraged people who appear on your screens seem strong. They seem certain. And when you are confused and isolated, certainty feels like a shelter, even if it is a house made of fire. Angry people control the world because you have given them all your attention. You have built a temple of noise, and you have put the loudest screamer on the altar. Let me share with you a very old teaching story from my people. This is a story about how leadership is corrupted when it is built on rage. It is the story of the rattlesnake tribe. This tribe lived in a dry, rocky canyon. For generations, they were a peaceful people, governed by a council of elders who sought balance. They were careful with their water, and they were kind to their neighbors. But one year, a great drought hit. The water in the river began to fail, and the food storage ran low. The people grew afraid, and in their fear, they stopped listening to the quiet, slow wisdom of the council. One young man, named Sorel, stood up in the center of the camp. Sorel had never built a house. He had never guided a harvest. But Sorel could scream. He was filled with a constant, hot fury. He pointed to the river and said, "The elders are weak. The water is failing because we do not have strong leaders. The tribe across the mountains, they are praying to the wrong spirits, and they are cursing our river. We must kill them and take their mountains." Sorel's anger was infectious. The people, desperate and afraid, felt their own helplessness vanish when Sorel screamed. His certainty made them feel strong. He didn't offer a single plan to find water, but he gave them an enemy to hate. Sorel led the men to war. They attacked the other tribe, a tribe that was also struggling with the drought. They caused immense suffering. Sorel was powerful. He ruled the camp by rage. Anyone who spoke of peace was labeled a traitor. But the anger did not bring rain. The mountains did not contain water. When Sorel had exhausted the tribe in war, and when the other tribe had fought back and burned their storage sheds, Sorel had nothing left to offer. He was good at burning, but he was not good at building. The rattlesnake tribe destroyed itself not because the drought was too strong, but because their leader used his anger to tear them apart from within. They forgot that you cannot eat your own anger. I share this story because your world today is full of Sorels. Your modern leaders are not judged by the health of the community or the peace within their borders. They are judged by how successfully they can target your anxiety and direct it toward an enemy. They rule by rage, but like Sorel, they cannot bring the rain. They cannot solve your problems. They can only sell you the privilege of screaming with them. This brings us to the fourth reason. Angry people control the world because you have lost the still point. You have lost your ability to listen to anything but the chaos. Wisdom is not like the thunderstorm. Wisdom is like the deep, silent current of a vast river. You cannot hear the river when the storm is screaming overhead. You can only hear it when the storm moves on. To receive wisdom, to receive grounding, to receive clarity, you must practice stillness. When my grandfather taught me how to hunt, he did not take me into a chaotic market. He took me into the forest at dawn. We sat by a tree for 3 hours. He told me, do not move a muscle. Do not utter a sound. You must listen to the earth until the earth becomes silent. And then you must listen until the earth begins to speak. And when I did that, when the initial urge to move faded, when my own internal noise became quiet, a whole new world opened to me. I could hear a beetle crawling over a leaf 100 paces away. I could hear the wind changing its message. I had clarity. But in your world, there are no dawn hunts. There are no stillnesses. Your entire life is an engineering project designed to make sure you are never, ever silent. From the moment you wake until the moment you sleep, you are plugged into the modern loudspeaker. You are consuming noise. When your soul is perpetually vibrating at the frequency of the loudspeaker, you can only perceive the frequency of the loudspeaker. A wise, quiet voice has no access to your mind. A calm perspective seems irrelevant. Angry people maintain their control because they keep you so perpetually overwhelmed and distracted that you have no internal gravity. You are like dry grass that is swept away by any gust of fury that blows across your screen. They keep you hungry for chaos. And when you are hungry for chaos, you will only elect a king who is a master of chaos. This brings us to the fifth and final truth. This is the teaching that can change your life tonight if you let it settle into your heart. The ultimate chaos of the world is nothing more than a reflection of the chaos inside our own chests. You may have heard the old story of the 2 wolves that live inside every human being. It is an old teaching from my people, but its truth never fades. One wolf is filled with anger, envy, regret, greed, arrogance, and self-pity. It wants to fight everyone it sees because it believes the world owes it something. The other wolf is filled with joy, peace, love, hope, serenity, humility, kindness, and truth. These 2 wolves are locked in a terrible battle inside you every single hour of every single day. And when a young person asks, "Grandfather, which wolf will win?" the answer is always the same: the one you feed. Modern politics is a giant machine designed specifically to feed your angry wolf. Every article you click on, every angry tweet you read, every argument you have with a stranger online, that is you, taking a piece of raw meat and throwing it to the wolf of hatred inside your soul. And then you wonder why you feel anxious. You wonder why your stomach hurts. You wonder why you cannot sleep at night. You are starving your peaceful wolf, and you are wondering why there is no peace in your house. The greatest illusion of politics is making you believe that the battle is out there, in the capital city, in the voting booths, on the debate stages. It is not. The battle is right here, inside your chest. If you have hatred in your heart for your political opponent, you have already lost. No matter who wins the election, you have allowed their chaos to colonize your soul. We have looked at the smoke, We have seen why the enraged rule. Now I must tell you the most difficult truth of all. You cannot stop them by being angry at them. The great trick of this modern world is making you believe that the answer to hatred is more hatred. They want you to become enraged about their rage, because if you do that, you are still inside their stadium. You are still feeding the monster. You have simply become another dry field that has caught fire. The real revolution, the true resistance, is not found on the battlefield of noise. It is found in taming the internal beast inside your own chest. Every morning you have a choice. When you first wake, your mind is still clear, like a calm lake before a stone is thrown. What do you throw into that lake? Do you pick up the loudspeaker immediately? Do you feed the wolf of anger before you have even taken your first breath of the day? If you do, you have already conceded defeat. You are already controlled. Your ancestors did not build circles by accident. They built circles because they knew we could not hold the fire alone. I cannot tell you how to change the whole world tonight. No one can. But I can tell you how to begin taming the world you live in. It is simple. Put the loudspeaker down, just for 1 hour a day. Step out onto the earth with your bare feet. Look at a tree. Talk to your neighbor, not about the news, but about their family, about their garden, about something gentle. Rebuild your circle, one person at a time. When the storm of anger refuses to move on, do not become the storm. Become the still water that puts out the fire. Become the drumbeat of stillness that absorbs the noise. Take your gold back. Take your attention back. Stop feeding the angry wolves and give your medicine to the wolf of peace. This is your time. This is your center. Take it back. It always belonged to you. Thank you for sitting with me by the canyon. Join me next week. We have many more things to remember together. Stay close to the stillness.